everybody. Today's guest is a wonderful activist, Erin Bechtol. She is the administrative assistant for Bene Campaign Nonviolence, and she does a really great job. I am so happy to have her here today. Erin, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for inviting me, Rosie.
Yeah. So, Erin, one thing that I thought was really cool is I was reading over your biography on Bene, and I read that you got a degree in peace studies in college. And I thought that was awesome because right now I'm working on a certificate in peace studies. And can you tell me about what led you to pursue peace studies?
Sure. So the minor on my degree is in Holocaust, Genocide, and Peace Studies. And that was as heavy and devastating at times as it sounds like it would be. But I guess the Holocaust part is really what drew me to it in the first place. I was one of those kids that went to school and had to read books about the Holocaust in like 5th grade. And ever since then, I was so gripped by some of the worst of what humans could do to each other. So I started taking those classes, and by the time I got into it, some of the peace studies and nonviolence was woven in there. And it was a revelation to me. You know, I had been so fixated on the bad that learning there was a way to combat it without causing further damage in the world was just eye-opening and something I couldn't get enough of.
Wow, thank you, Erin. That's wonderful. Um, and I was wondering, right now we're seeing such an amazing uprising for racial justice. Can you tell me about any protests that you've been a part of lately?
Sure. Well, most of what I've been doing to be part of this movement has actually been somewhat quieter, introspective, staying at home and learning as much as I possibly can. Um, as far as the protests have gone, I'm in Corvallis, so we're not a real big city. I think we have 58,000 people, but one of the recent Black Lives Matter protests that I went to had something like 4,000 people, which was huge, bigger than any other event I'd attended downtown. And just seeing so many people show up was, it was transformative, I think, in the way I think about this town. I've moved around a lot in my adult life, and I didn't imagine that I'd be putting down roots here in Corvallis, but seeing a community that turns out to support their own people and is willing to stand up for transformation was really eye-opening again. And then some of the other cool things I've been doing is getting involved with the local chapter of the NAACP and being part of their Zoom meetings and workshops and learning about what I can do personally, which a lot of is just tackling my own thoughts and beliefs about the world and learning how to have these conversations more effectively with people around me. So the protest was great, and I'm so excited to now have some guidance in how to make one-on-one change.
That is so exciting. I know that I was really excited because I live in this town in very rural Kentucky, and we don't hardly ever have protests or anything. But then there was a protest, and we're having them every week, at least.
Awesome.
It's so wonderful, and it's nice to see people showing up.
Absolutely.
It continues, definitely. And then I know you've studied peace studies and you work for Bene. And so my last question, kind of my signature question is, what does nonviolence mean to you?
So I've been thinking about this a lot, of course, and I guess what it really means to me is a lot of deep introspection about the impact I have on the world. So part of that will be how I interact with other people individually, people I know and love, or strangers I meet. But another big part of it for me is the impact of the other things I do that I might not think about very much. So the call to be a responsible consumer, because of what that might mean for our planet, for other people who produce the things that I buy. It's there's so much to think about, and just taking that time to behave in a way that I can be proud of later is a lot of what nonviolence is to me. And it's not always convenient, of course, which is why not everybody does it, but it's so worth the time. And another big aspect of it is being able to step outside of the binary, the us versus them, the either or, winners and losers. That's such a big part of nonviolence, in that it changes the way you see that you can interact with the world. And instead of creating power dynamics in which a person's always trying to be on top to survive, it really helps you see that helping your friend or helping somebody else you meet in your community helps the whole community be better. So it's a guiding principle in a way that I think very few other things in this world have been able to be for me.
Wow, Erin, thank you. I love your answer.
Thanks.
Well, that's the interview, and I would just like to say thank you so much for being here. This has been so great talking to you, and I've just been really looking forward to this. So thank you.
So glad to have you on the team, Rosie.